children of porn stars. How has this affected you growing up?
My mother recently became a phone sex line worker. It's kind of funny. Me and my dad are the only people who know about it, and she shares these amazing stories about the guys she talks to. Once she had a guy who wanted her to scream "I clean with Mr. Muscle." I think he was trolling, but I bet someone's into that kind of thing. She says it's pretty fucking great pay and a good laugh, and suggested that I do it too. Hasn't fucked me up at all. My siblings don't even know because they're underage. My sister would tell all her friends and my brother would probably be mortified.
Well, my dad was a big porn producer and director in the 70s 90s. It made him a ton of money, but he blew it all gambling. There was always his porn movies and boxes out at his house. Don't know if it affected me. I turned out pretty normal sexually. I did find out Ron Jeremy had sex in my kitchen. So there's that.
My father was not a porn star, but was an executive at a company who produced adult films in the 80s 90s. He got drunk one night when I was in college and started showing me all the autographed pictures he had of porn stars. When I was a kid, he used to just tell me he worked for a company that made low-budget movies that you would probably never see.
I have a hard time watching porn, because every once in a while my dad will pop up. Imagine that. It is pretty weird.
Tiger Drew Honey, a teenage actor from the UK, has a whole documentary series on the BBC about how his dad's job affected him. His dad is Bend Over, the most famous porn star in the UK in the 80s and 90s, and he came to my 18th party earlier this year. He was really weird, and made out with a lot of my friends. He tried to be really chill and suave, but he ended up just looking a bit sleazy and slutty. I opened a bottle of champagne just so he could have some, and he leaned over and whispered in my ear about how you shouldn't go home by yourself tonight. It was my house. I was home already. What a brat. You should check out the TV programs because they explain a lot.
A kid I was in high school with was notorious because his mom was in porn. Evidently in freshman year he had some friends at his house and they were going through his dad's stuff looking for alcohol. They find his porn stash and decide to watch some porn together, because some guys do that, I guess. It was a VHS and it wasn't rewound, so they started it in the middle. I guess they're all thoroughly enjoying themselves watching this chick from behind. Then the camera pans to the front and they get a square view of the woman's face. It's the kid's mom. He never lived it down. Not only was his mom in porn, but he'd been spanking the monkey to her. People would see him walking between classes and yell the name of the actor who was in the scene with her. I don't remember the name now. Mike something, I think. When he made the football team, someone put up still frames of his mom and other films in the locker room. He transferred schools about halfway through sophomore year because he couldn't deal with the mocking.
My older sister was involved in the adult industry. She's almost like a parent, as my dad wasn't around and she was 10 years older than me. When I was younger she once had to take me to a shoot. She never told me what was going on and I was far away in another room in this giant amazing house, drawing and checked in on by several people. I was about 8. I was never told why we were there, but I knew something was up as I grew older. We recently spoke about it and she admitted that it was a porn shoot and happy to get it off her chest. It also put my mind to rest, as I wasn't sure what kind of porn she did, and it was purely glamour modeling, no penetration of any kind, and just her and no one else. She had done about 40 shoots in her youth and is a bit of a fan base. My wife googled her porn name and found people debate what happened to her and all these rumors that they spotted her in another country. She had far more struggles than me, as all I got was mates comment constantly how hot my sister was and they never knew, but she has been confronted several times even though it was 20 years ago. A male college of hers found out and pictures circulated around and got some people fired. She hates the idea that she did that and trying to bury it.
There's a girl at my school and her mom is her adult movie star. I don't know if it has affected in any way. She seems pretty normal. Now the mom is running a yoga studio and the daughter is the youngest yoga instructor in the world. For those of you wondering, Sophia Rossi.
In 9th grade, there was a guy in gym class whose mom was apparently a porn star. He did some pretty weird shit, including giving himself a nipple piercing with a safety pin, shooting in the locker room shower. So anyway, one day brings in pics of his mom and shows them to the class. Nobody really knew how to react. Anyways, he ends up getting expelled for somehow ripping a water fountain out of the wall.
When I was in the 7th grade, my friend told me that he saw my mom online, and further investigation showed that my mother was on the Bang My Wife series. So my stepdad at the time allowed my mother to perform on another man for his satisfaction. Thankfully my friend kept it a secret from other people, well, not enough to make an impact. I never told my mom and I have a hard time looking at her in the face now. No, I will not link any videos. I'm the nephew of one of the first famous porn stars. I also have a unique last name. Every conversation with a male about 40 went like this. Okpj Jansen. Related with the Jansen?
My cousin was a porn star. She dated Charlie Sheen for a bit, who was still an ass back then. Unfortunately, this was before it was well known that he is abusive. Anyone she tried to tell outside of family thought she was lying for attention. This caused her to spiral into drug use and depression, but is doing better these days. When she got married, many ex-porn stars showed up and they were free blowjobs in the venue's closet. My family is pretty religious, so it's a huge no-no to talk about. I only found out because my sister rented porn with her husband shortly after their honeymoon and realized they were watching her cousin. As for how it's affected me, it's just helped me understand a little how she's developed the problems that she has, and to try to help her out in whatever way I can. She can get nasty when drunk, but otherwise is a chill person. It also helped me realize that the harder a family tries to keep a squeaky clean image, the more that they are trying to actually cover up.
I am not the child of a porn star. I knew a stripper who was the daughter of a well-known porn star. Her mother was blonde, fit, and had huge fake tits. She was kind of fat, had small breasts and a badly proportioned body. Her face was quite pretty, though, and she didn't have a problem making money in the shittier clubs. I don't know how she would have fared in the big clubs because she was always too afraid to try out. She was extremely self-conscious and she talked about her porn star mother way too much. She compared everything about herself to her mother. She over-sexualized herself and seemed to believe her only value was in her looks. Of course, this made her feel like a total failure because she hadn't lived up to some perfect image she believed she was supposed to. She often told me about how her perfect mother and perfect grandmother made fun of her for being fat. She was also bitter towards men and told me she had been surrounded by shitty men her whole life and that her mother had only dated sugar daddies and drug dealers. Her mother had also raised her to be a gold digger. She didn't believe men were capable of love. She didn't have a plan for school or anything. She just wanted to be a porn star or stripper like her mother. That's about all I remember about her.
When that kid on Xbox Live tells me he fucked my mom, it's kinda hard to prove he didn't.
You know what else is kinda hard?
Dark Souls.
Castlevania?
Mega Man.
Battletoads? So as a parent who has done porn, ex-wife and I were both performers and later ran a smallish production company, I can tell you how they reacted. My oldest child found out when she was 23 or so. She refused to speak to us because she was disgusted. We reconciled when she was 25 and in very deep trouble and came to us asking for help. Abusive BF. My second child, son, also found out but when he was 17. He's super mellow and was like he found out by breaking into a locked file cabinet that had some artwork featuring his stepmom. He got into trouble for the invasion of privacy, and we told him in no uncertain terms that it was doubly inappropriate on top of that and to stay out. Child 3, my ex and my natural child is 16-year girl. We retired the business when she was about 8 and as far as we know she has no idea. My fourth child by my current wife is 10 months old and is not allowed to use the internet until I'm dead. TL. Doctor, my two oldest kids from a previous marriage found out their stepmom and I did porn. One cared, one did not.
My mom is a cam whore, which hogs all the bandwidth.
My dad was a porn star in the 70s. His genes must run strong. Because I have a huge dick, a hairy chest and a sweet mustache. Thanks, Dad.
Judging by your username, you did not enter the porn industry.
Yes he did. He charges 4 fucks.
It's not a fucking charity.
There was a girl I graduated with in high school whose mom did porn. I did not personally know her but everyone knew about it. She was pretty normal, minus seeming kind of snobby. She would go to the Playboy Mansion every year for their big parties and everyone would gawk over that. She did end up working for Playboy doing events but I don't think she ever modeled for them. She started hanging out with famous athletes until one finally knocked her up a damp. She had a baby. Surprising enough though, to give her credit, she was in the top 5% of the graduating class and is about to graduate with a law degree. I got hit in the head a lot. It's better now that I've been born.
My friend Nick has a cousin who is a porn star. The name is Miley Myers. If you so much as mention her and her career to him, he will come pretty close to turning you into a snuff film.
Not me, but one of my closest friends. I would say it has been highly detrimental to her upbringing. She was around a lot of things she should not have been. My friend has a lot of issues resulting from neglect and sexual abuse when she very young. One of her mother's ex-boyfriends began stalking them and making threats. It got so bad that they had to change their names and move across the country. As a teenager she was depressed and suicidal. She was continuously getting in trouble at school and barely graduated. All that said, it was a long time ago and now she is doing much better now, as is her mom. Children of the porn. I'll just see myself out. Thank you for watching. Like the video and subscribe to okpjdark for more videos every day. See you tomorrow.